What is an SVG? We see it used on Facebook quite frequently in the forums and groups, people referring to their images as SVG, when in fact they're not. There are SVG sharing groups, but you can't upload an SVG file because Facebook does not allow it. So I thought I would create a video to show you the differences between the different image formats and why that's important. I want to bring up Inkscape, which is a free program. You can get it from inkscape.org. And I am going to drag a copy of a file that is a PNG file called mango.png. And this is a low resolution file. And if I expand this by dragging it, you can see that it becomes fuzzy. It's no longer crisp and sharp. And if I were to open, excuse me, if I were to open a PNG file in a text editor, this is what the file looks like. It's scrambled, you can't read it. It's a binary file. Okay. If I take this same image and I come up into Inkscape and go to Path Trace Bitmap, and I'm just setting, I'm going to leave this setting here. I'm going to set my single scan brightness cutoff, and my threshold is 0.693. Everything else is turned off. And if I do a preview, or I'm sorry, if I do an apply, I can now drag that image off to the one side and I'll remove the background, the original image. Now this image is completely scalable because it's been turned into a path. So no matter how large I make it, it will stay exactly the same as it was at the other side. And if you use this option over here, this is edit nodes by path, or edit paths by nodes. You can see this image has been turned into paths, and these are the nodes that allow you to change this path. So if I wanted, I could move these around. I could do all sorts of manipulation of the image to straighten it up. So if I go back to the select tool and just select this image, I'm going to get rid of this for a moment. Let's bring our Mango PNG file back in. And let's go ahead and just apply that again. Bring this over here and get rid of this. I'm going to save this file. And I'm going to save it as not an Inkscape SVG, but a plain SVG. I'm going to save this in my desktop. And now if I come in, I guess it called it drawing.svg. Let's call this mango.svg. Now let's open that file with our text editor. Now this is a readable file. and it's actually an XML file, which stands for Extensible Markup Language. And so if you truly have an SVG file, you'll be able to open it in a text editor, and it should look similar to this. So you can see that this is actually a path, and it has all of these parameters to it. It specifies the width and where all the lines are positioned. And it also tells you what it was created with. Okay. So that that is an SVG file and what it looks like. If we go over to our web browser, I've opened several pages here to show you the difference. If you go to Wikipedia and you look for PNG, JPG, and SVG, which stands for Scalable Vector Graphics, you can read what the differences are between an SVG and a JPEG. If we go into Design Space and we create a new project, and we go in and we upload, and if you upload a PNG file, well, the most you can do with it is remove the background, for example. But you notice that it's not very clear. It's fuzzy looking. And if you go to go ahead and upload it, you have two choices. You can do it as a print then cut or just a cut image. We'll go ahead and do print then cut. We'll go ahead and put that on our canvas. And if we wanted that to be larger, it gets fuzzy the larger it gets. Okay. And there's nothing you can do with it. You can't, it's not layered, so you can't do anything with it. You can't change the contour on it. On the other hand, if we upload our SVG file, and put that on our canvas, we can expand this to any size we want, and it will remain perfectly clear, no matter what size, because it's scalable. You can also contour it. So if we come into the contour, all of these individual parts are available for you to manipulate. So I could hide all the contours, for example, and just select one part or another. And I could change the colors of each of the individual parts, even if I wanted to do that. Better yet, let's go ahead and delete that one. We could come back into Inkscape and we could enlarge this. And we could come up here to path and do break apart. And now we've got all the individual pieces where we could change the colors of them if we wanted. We can drag all of these parts out separately. And let's just say I wanted to make that white. I wanted to make that, I don't know, some other color. I just pick a color here. And we could regroup these back together if we wanted. And we'll save this file. Again, as a plain SVG. And we're going to call this mango2.svg. And then we'll go back into Design Space and we'll upload Mango 2. And we'll do an upload and we'll add that to our canvas. And so now you can see that since we broke it apart, all of the individual pieces are listed over here in the layers panel, along with their colors. So you could change their colors, you could hide them, you can reorder the layer order. You can do whatever you like with those. So that is basically the difference between a true SVG file and a graphical representation as a PNG file. And you can do so much more with an SVG file. Now, there are websites that will convert a picture, a JPEG or whatever, to a SVG file, but they are well, let's just do pick SVG, for example. That's a free SVG converter. They don't do a great job, but they do convert an image from a JPEG, for example. So let's go ahead and go back to our desktop and let's find Mango PNG. And as I said, it doesn't look like it did a very good job. Let's try. The original doesn't even show up in here. So I don't know if we have anything else in here. Let's try this one. Okay, so there's an image. And you can see that it leaves a lot to be desired. We can probably see if we can do something different with a different edge selection. Or internal. That might be better. Let's try internal 2. And internal 3. And then you could download that as an SVG. And let's get out of there. I just go ahead and delete all of this. And let's bring our SVG file in. And let's see if it really was an SVG. Does it have nodes? It does. Can we open it in a text editor? We can. So that is one way you can convert your PNG or JPEG images to an SVG file so that you can bring that into Design Space. That completes this video. That's what I wanted to show you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.